All right. Shall we begin now? Our second session.
Yes.
Okay. So I will continue. As I was speaking about emotional development, always take note of this. No, the emphasis is that a child keeps on repeating on the things that they experience most. No, moving forward. Let's see. Here. Now, a child who discovers that his or her temper tantrums will get what the child wants. As I was actually explaining a while ago, no? When the child actually would display tantrum, when they try to get things, and always parents would give in, there will be a problem because eventually he would keep on doing that over and over again. That's the reason why I am telling you, no, when you encounter a child who is always having tantrum, the best thing that you could actually do is to talk to them and explain to them why things will not happen according to what they want. In that way, we also stop their tantrum. Now, in relation to that, as I mentioned to you, any emotional expression that gives satisfaction to the child, this is the emphasis, tends to be repeated and repeated and repeated and repeated over time until such time that this will become a habit. Whether that particular emotional expression is negative or positive, the child will repeat it. So moving forward, as I mentioned to you, if the child is having tantrum and always we give in, they will also repeat the tantrum. That's the reason why you will encounter children, whenever they will not get what they want, they are always having tantrums. Especially when the first time that they did it, we would give in. Just like what I mentioned to you earlier, no, what we discussed earlier, when we go to the toy store and we would not want to buy what they wanted, they will cry endlessly. So what happens that we would get easily annoyed or we would be embarrassed. The thing that we get, the next thing that we would actually do is to buy what they wanted, and this is not supposed to be good because we give in. The next time that they are going to ask us what they want, the next time that they are going to want, they are going to do similar way. They're going to do similar thing. Okay, so this is exactly why is it that immediately we will not give in to the child, right? So we have to immediately stop them from doing such. Take note of that, right? It becomes a habit. It will actually lead to repeated tantrums, and then it will actually be carried forward at the little stage of our life. This will be very destructive, and that is not very good. See, imagine you are adult right now, and you are still having tantrums. This will be very dangerous, especially when you get married. No, when your husband will not give you what you want, you get in the way. You have tantrums, and that will not be good. No? So take note, anything that would actually tend to be negative expression of emotion must always be explained to the child. So we have to start from the beginning, and the only thing that we can do as parents would always be to explain. That's how our children would go emotionally. We will not stop children to express what they want. We have to explain to them why is it that this is not possible, why is it that this is possible. In short, they need to learn. That's how we are supposed to teach our children how to grow emotionally. You understood? So that's the reason why, as early as now, you could actually tell, oh, you are not emotionally, let's say, mature. Why is it that you are childish? Maybe there must be something wrong. In a way, it's actually possible that the possibility that there could be something wrong when that particular person had some stagnations in the past. So that means to say they could not have developed emotionally. There are so many people like that that we know in our environment, maybe in our classrooms. Yes, there could be some people like that in our classroom also. All right. Any questions so far? Okay. Moving forward. All right. Moving forward. Love, fear, and anger would always be the main emotions that children would always feel. All right. These are the most predominant emotions that we have among children. Okay. Children learn to love the person who to satisfy their physical needs most of the time. Okay. Children learn how to love, uh, and actually, fear also is another emotions that they would actually have. You know, this is the thing. I'll give you an example. Right? Sometimes we bank on this so that we would always generate fear among our children. Do not go in that particular room. It's dark. So the tendency is that the child will actually grow as if they're afraid in the dark. Why is it that they must not go in the dark? Because there could be some genie in there. There should be a ghost in there. So maybe another monster is actually living there. So do not go there. So it sticks in the brain, in the mind of the child that they could be hurt because darkness, when they learn from childhood, darkness would always be associated with monster. So if there is monster, they could be hurt. If they could be hurt, then there could actually be fear. So these are all the three most predominant emotional expressions that the child would actually feel. And these are all dominant emotions that we have as we grow old. All right. Any question about emotional development? Always take note of that, that we are passing by. Our emotions are actually developing every day as we experience, as we encounter our day-to-day activities. So moving forward, we'll proceed with moral development. No, moral development is propounded by Kohlberg. This is very essential in our moral development. This is a part of psychology. You see, we should actually know how we develop our moral ground, our moral standing, right? So we should know this, no? So this is what we have here. There are several levels. Why is it that we are not allowed to do this? Why is it that we are not allowed to do that? Why is it that we are actually wearing our hijab? Why is it that we are not going to talk with our people, with other people of the opposite sex or opposite gender, and so on? Why is it that we cannot actually go out without asking permission? Why is it that we are always pleasing our parents? So this is actually grounded in moral development, according to Kohlberg. So he studied this, and he mentioned about how an individual developed morally. So he's also one of the developmental psychologists who actually propounded this, no? And he looked forward, no? He looked into it. This is one facet of our personality that sometimes could have been played, could have played a very important role in our development, no? So number one, level one, we call it a pre-conventional morality. No, in this case, we have different stages. Stage one, as we are going to look into this, just imagine, as we try to look into the development into the stages, we are always looking into infancy, then moving forward. Just like how we look into physical development, into psychological development, into emotional development, and different theories of development, we are always looking to the development of a person from zero up to old age. Just like moral development also. So we'll start in level one. We call it pre-conventional morality. Pre means before you develop the conventional morality. Yeah, there are several stages. Number one, punishment orientation. What is actually the meaning of this one? Now, in stage one, a person will comply to things, to the role, with rules during this stage in order to avoid punishment. We are complying things because we would like to avoid punishment. Now, remember this. If we are going to look into B.F. Skinner, behaviorism, yeah, school of thought. So in behaviorism, it actually looks into reward and punishment. See, now here people do things because they do not want to be punished. Now, how do we instill this among our children? See, why is it that this is actually very important, is particularly in the family of a person? You see, the thing is that as parents, immediately we would always emphasize that children will not do this and will not do that. But we do not go over, we do not do overboard, we do not do things that is contrary to how a person develops. Because when we are giving so much rule, the person may be confused. The basic rules must always be followed. The basic rules of growing up must also be followed. When you're going to tell, if you are going to break glass, then you will be punished. If you're not obeying me, if you're not going to obey me, then you're going to be punished. That's not right. Rules must be established at home. There is allowance to breath. The thing is, people will just do things because during this time, the rule is very clear. As parents, we must always clarify the rules so that children will actually obey. Now, the reason why is that children will obey the rule because they do not want to be punished. So many forms of punishment. Maybe you are not allowed to watch television. You're not allowed to play your toys. You're not allowed to play your PlayStation or maybe your Xbox and so on. Or maybe I'll not give you money. Or maybe you are not allowed to play with other people. You are not allowed to play with your teammates outside. So if you're going to do this, if you're going to do that, if you're going to disobey me, it must be very clear. So the role must always be established so that the child will always follow. Of course, we have to look into this one, no? The punishment orientation. We have to recognize that fact. We do things because we are afraid to be punished. Just like, for instance, what belongs to conventional morality, what belongs to punishment orientation and pre-conventional morality that we know of? As adults, we tend to follow the rules in the community. Okay? Like, for instance, we always obey traffic rules. Why is it that we always obey traffic rules? Because once that we caught, we will be punished. What are the punishments? There are so many. If you obey the red light, your car will be confiscated for 1 month. If you actually go more than the designated or required speed, you will pay. These are punishment. We do things because we are afraid of the consequences. This is on the lower level of morality. See, we will do things because we are afraid to be punished. This is low level of morality. Moving forward, it goes on stage two. We do things because we would like to be rewarded. Reward orientation. In level one, stage two. An action is determined by one's own need. No, we study because we would like to be rewarded. We would like to get A plus. At home, this is always exploited. No, like for instance, I believe you have relatives also are very young. All right. Sometimes you ask your brothers or sisters or any relatives at home to do this for you, to do that for you in exchange of 1 dirham, 2 dirhams, or 3 dirhams. Maybe you ask your brother or sister, younger brother, give me water, please, in a cup. I'll give you 1 dirham. Massage my back. I'll give you 1 dirham. Scratch my back. I'll give you 1 dirham. Clean my room. I'll give you 5 dirhams. Yeah? Are you doing this? Anyone who exploits the relatives? And they always oblige, you know. So the two things, because they would like to have reward. After finishing the job, make it sure that you are actually going to reward them. Okay? Now,
Doctor, I have a
yeah.
question.
Okay.
So for now, for example, if the kid keeps on getting reward for doing things, wouldn't this be like would affect him in the future? That anything he does, he will be like expecting something for exchange, or like if he does something, he wants something back, or no?
Yes, that's the reason why I'm telling you it's in pre-conventional morality. This is actually the lowest form of morality. So children will not do eventually things without reward. Because you see, as of now, if we keep on giving them rewards with simple things that they do, then eventually there will be a problem. Compassionate but firm. When we say the child will be punished, we have to do that. We have to punish the child. You see? When we say we're going to reward the child, you have to reward the child in reward orientation. But do not overdo it. The children must always realize that what they are doing must always be in accordance with the rules that you set at home. They are doing things because they are exploiting things or because they love to do things, because they want to receive something in return. So somewhat this is good also because it will actually lead them to do things. Because the things that you ask them will reward them. It will be good to you also, good in two sides. Now the problem will be, what if you're going to ask them bad things? Maybe they will do that because of the reward. That's the reason why there are so many criminals as of now, isn't it? I will ask you to kill that person and I'll give you this X amount of money. I'm going to ask you to kill to steal that particular thing, and I'm going to give you X amount of money. These are the negative things. And some people, why is it that some people are actually falling into that? Because when they were young, they were always getting reward by all the actions that they would do, whether it would always be positive or negative, and that's not good. No, as I said, so we are always looking forward into the holistic development of the child, and we should recognize this. So as parents, it's our responsibility to understand how children develop this way. Okay? So children and other people do things. Number one, stage one, low level pre-conventional morality. They would like to do things because they would like to avoid punishment, or in stage two, they will actually move forward. They will do things because they would like to be rewarded. That's the reason why students would like to study, because they would like to be rewarded. That's the point. In level two, it's already moving towards conventional morality. It's a higher stage of morality development. So we have stage three here. No, a continuation. All right, level two, conventional. Level one, pre-conventional. Stage one, punishment orientation. Stage two, reward orientation. Now, in conventional morality level two, stage three, this time it will be a good girl, good boy orientation. You would like to do things because you would like to appease. You would like to please your parents. You would like to please people, the principal, your teachers. You are always trying to get their approval. And it's good, no? Because you would like to impress them. This is who am I. I am a good girl. I'm a good boy. So very good. And as parents, we will always acknowledge that. No, this is our responsibility to acknowledge. No, good boy, good girl. It's a good boy, good girl orientation, where good behavior is that which pleases others and gets their approval. And people tend to get their approval all the time. This is human reaction. This is human tendency, our tendency to appear to be good, our tendency to get the approval of others, isn't it? Remember this? Sometimes they ask your opinion, sometimes they ask if they are a good girl, but without actually them saying they are a good girl, they try to be good girls. You see? Because we always are impressed and they are always trying to please us, good girls and the good boys that we have. So, like for instance, I'll give you a basic example. You see, we taught our children to pray before sleeping. When we see them, sometimes really they would like us to see them praying. See, so we always say good girl. So they keep on repeating that because prayer at night will be associated with good boy or good girl behavior, or they would fix their bed. Now, once that they would have fixed their bed, and we would always say, good boy, good girl. Immediately in the morning, morning after that, and so on and so forth, they will keep on doing that because we are always telling them, good boy, good girl. They would show us, particularly when they would actually do their bed. Now, what happens? It becomes a part of us. As I mentioned to you earlier, in emotional development, as we do this, it becomes a habit. Therefore, what happens is that even though parents are not there, they tend to do that already because it forms a habit already in their personality and it becomes who they are. And that's very good. They will do things because before it could be a thing to please parents, but eventually they keep on doing that because they like doing it, no? So initially it would start with pleasing other people. That's in the stage three. Stage four, this time it's authority orientation. The emphasis this time will be on upholding law, order, and authority and doing one's duty by following social rules or societal rules. Not we do things because we respect authority. So I'm very glad that in United Arab Emirates, that's actually a very good thing. We respect authority. In other countries, they don't. You see, when we see policemen, they run away. In the United Arab Emirates, when we see policemen, we feel so safe. But we have to stick on the rules. There are so many simple rules that are imposed by the government, especially the traffic rules. Why is it that we have to obey this? Why is it that we have to obey that? Why is it that in United Arab Emirates, everybody seems to follow the law? COVID-19, everybody seems to follow the law. You see? Just because of this. We are always respecting authority. Now at home, why is it that you always follow your parents? Because your parents set the law clearly. You know what you're doing. You know the consequences if you're not going to follow the law. Because you're always associating with your parents as authorities at home. Whatever they say, then they have to be followed. So this is authority orientation. When we are outside, we always follow the rules, or else we are going to get in trouble, as I mentioned to you earlier. See? So that is actually stage four. Now, if we keep on doing that, again, the emphasis is keep on doing that. Eventually, it becomes a habit. It will be incorporated on who we are. It will be incorporated in our personality. Without authority, we will be doing that already. Like, for instance, a simple speed rule in the United Arab Emirates, particularly in Ras Al Khaimah, you know. So there are always symbols there. You see, 80. That means to say you run within the state within the speed of 80 to 100. No, so we do that. We do that. Or else, if you run more than 80, more than 100, then we are going to be fine, right? So there are set of rules there that we have to follow, and the rule is very clear. If we are going to get caught, then we have to make it. We have to pay the consequences. See, that's one thing. If you steal, then you have to pay the consequences. There are rules, set of rules that must be obeyed, and we have to do that, no? Because rules we know and we learn in sociology are norms that are actually um, set by the authorities and the society, so that we will actually have law and order that we intend to be and we intend to have. Okay, so moving forward, no. After that, we will go to higher level of post-conventional morality. We have stage 5, social contract. We are going to do this because you ought to do that. Social contract orientation. It's flexible understanding that people obey rules because they are necessary for the social order, but that rules can change if there is a good reason and better alternatives. So there are always rules that are actually, like for instance, the basic example is the COVID-19. What are we doing right now here? Everything is flexible. Every now and then rules are changed, and we tend to obey that. It's our social contract with the state, with the government, to follow whatever they impose. Like initially, for the past 6 months, we are wearing masks. At the first time, any mask will be allowed, including the cloth mask. Then the government say cloth mask will not protect you. You better wear a mask, a surgical mask, so that virus will not penetrate, virus will not escape. So every now and then it's actually changing. Now there was a point in Ras Al Khaimah that tells, or in any part of the United Arab Emirates, everybody must be at home at 8 o'clock. See, during the disinfection control, isn't it? So everybody, what did we do? Everybody followed, right? Then later on, we lifted that. We removed that. The government removed it, and of course, everybody would be very happy. Right now, no gathering. All right, for more than 10. Almost everybody followed because as a member of the society, it's our social obligation to follow the social contract. And the rules are temporary until such time that the better alternative will come in. Now, as people with morality, we tend to follow that. We tend to look into that. We tend to obey that because we know that is temporary, right? Now, eventually, it would be one of the highest uh, morality development when you can actually stand on your own. Morality for individual principles orientation. That means to say you have developed your own philosophy, you have the own developed your morality. No one and no one will actually tell you what to do because you know what to do. Because the reactions and the behavior that you would like to play to display is already chosen by you according to your ethical principle. No? High value is placed on justice, dignity, and equality. Now, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. When you go to the bank, maybe you would like to withdraw some money, or when you go to your classroom. So, anyway, the setting is not material here. The thing is, you found a bag lying somewhere. Okay? This is a very basic example. Now, when you found a bag lying somewhere, of course, the tendency is that you are actually very curious, especially when money is taken from it. No, it's taken out from it. You saw from a distance that there could be money there. No one is around. It will only be you. Okay? Take note. You need money because your parents ran out of money. Your parents did not have a job because your parents were kicked out from their work. What the next thing that you would do is that, of course, you go near the bag and you found that there could be maybe 500,000 or 1 million dirhams in that particular bag. Now, I will ask you, no one, and no one can see you. No CCTV, no other person except you. What will you do? Come on, you go to a room. You are suffering because your parents were out of job. You have no money to pay for your tuition fee, for your needs. And all of a sudden, there is a bug in the room. You are alone, no CCTV. You found out that there is bag full of money. This is a simple demonstration of morality, particularly in stage 6. What are you going to do?
I will not take the bag.
Sure?
Yeah,
This
for
thing
sure.
depends. This thing depends on the person's honesty. Okay. يعني
Yeah?
والله العظيم والله العظيم doctor, I learned something from this life. Like whatever you take, if it is right, if you really deserve it, you will just see the magic with it. Wallah, I learned this from life. Like I have a lot of experiences. So
Yeah.
it depends on the person's honesty.
Very good.
So wallah al-azim, yani for me to be honest, inshallah, I won't take it. And
You
I
will
did
take
this in
it.
my life.
Aya,
Yeah.
also, you will not, you will take no, Roma. Aya, what about you? You will not take it also? Give me the reason why.
Yes, doctor, I agree with Rahma. Yani, it's all about honesty because, like, if in our religion in Islam, we know that if there's no one around you, no one sees you, there is God who sees everything, what you're doing, what you want to do. He knows your intentions. So you can't say like, okay, for example, I'm alone, no one is there, no one is watching me, so I can do whatever I want. Yani, this is not good. Even if you really need it, you can. There are other ways. You can go ask your friends. You can ask your relatives. Can you just give me some money? I will return it to you when I have my money. You know, like you can do things which, like at least you inside yourself, you will feel like you're relaxed. You're not tension that, oh my God, I stole. What if someone saw me? What if this? What if that? You know.
Okay, very good. Now, who else would like to tell their opinion? Come
Yani
on,
this thing,
boys.
doctor,
Yeah,
this thing
yeah.
depends on the conscience, I think. We call it the conscience.
Mhm. Yeah. Now, actually, it comes with your morality. That's the reason why I really would like to discuss this, no? Because human as we are, an inkling, sometimes I know that you will not take it. There is no problem with that. Your morality is fully developed. Isn't it at one point, at inkling, human as you are, we'll discuss this in the theories of personality eventually, there is something in you that would like to take it, right or wrong? There is something in you that would like to take it, but eventually the conscience prevailed. We are going to look into the theories of personality according to Sigmund Freud later on, where we'll discuss id, ego, and super ego. That's the reason why I mentioned to you a while ago. Really, initially, no person in the right mind will take negatively. Eventually, will take not to take that. But eventually, the morality and conscience would actually prevail. Yeah. Of course, for me, on my side, I'm going to take that money. Then eventually, I'm going to surrender that to the police. You get it? Because there will be a point when that money will be left behind there, and a second person may come in, a third person may come in, then they may take that without surrendering that to the police. The best way that we can actually do is that it's our responsibility to take it and surrender that to the police if there are no identification, isn't it? Not we take it and keep it as our own. Right or wrong? Rama, do you agree with me? Ah, yeah?
100%, I agree with you.
Yeah. You will take that, right? But you will not keep it. You have to surrender that to the police, isn't it?
Yeah, whether I give it to like the
Yeah,
closest
whether I
place,
give it to my
yani to the
yes.
closest place where I found it, or I have to give it to someone. But inshallah, I'm not taking it. Yani,
But
inshallah, this is a promise.
you will not leave it there.
I think wallah, I don't know. It depends on the situation, صراحة. But most
Yeah.
of the time, no, I won't leave it there. Yani, most of the time,
Yes.
I,
Because
yani, I
other
prefer
people will
giving
be
it.
tempted.
Yeah, I
Other
prefer
people
giving
will
it.
be tempted. Yeah,
Yeah,
very good.
yeah.
Okay, I'll give you another situation. No, I really would like to have a discussion here. At the middle of nowhere, you are driving at night. There is no camera. Okay, and you approach the intersection. Okay, no car around. No car around. All right. All of a sudden, in the intersection, there is a traffic light, and the traffic light says red. What are you going to do? No policeman, no camera, no car. You are driving at the middle of nowhere. What will you do? You get my point?
You get my point?
Doctor, that's a hard question, you know?
Yeah. So I'll repeat. No, at the
Like
middle of the
in my life, doctor, I really want to try something like this. You know, oh, it's going to be super exciting. But also, I'm scared of my life, Yani. So no, I
yeah,
don't think I would do that.
yeah. So I'll repeat so that other students will understand. At the middle of nowhere, there is a traffic light. No, okay. There is intersection. No cars at night. Yeah, you are near the intersection, and the traffic light actually flashed red. What is the meaning of red? You
Stop.
stop. Okay. It says red. What will you do? Will you stop? Will you go? Remember, no camera. No one will catch you. What will you do?
Excuse me, doctor. Can I say something?
Yes, yes, yes. By all means, that's why. Maria, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Tell, yeah.
I will stop
Okay.
because
Why?
I love to follow the rules.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very
I
good.
so I cannot go on red signal.
Yes.
You know, doctor, I think in this situation, I am going to follow the rule that says rules were made to break. And I think I will go and have fun a little bit. You know, I will run, you know, I'll just live it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very interesting answer. Anybody? Anybody has
Anybody has
another
another
answer?
answer?
I have an answer. It agrees with Rahman. It agrees with Maryam. So it depends on the mood. If I'm happy, if I'm like I'm listening to songs and music and stuff, I will stop because like I wouldn't want to reach home like fast. I want to enjoy and stuff. But if like there's nothing and it's boring, like the atmosphere in the car is boring, I'll just go. Yani there's nothing. Anyways, you won't like hit anyone. You won't hurt or harm, cause harm to anyone, and yeah, you won't cause harm even for yourself. So why just not to go? So it depends on the mood. I think like for myself, if I was in that situation, it depends on my mood. Then it's either I'll go or I'll stop. That's my answer.
Uh, yeah, thank you. But you see, in number six, I really would like to emphasize this, no? I appreciate your answers. You have all, sometimes maybe I do it, maybe I will not do it. You see, especially when you are actually in an emergency. But if you're going to come to think of it, morality as a part of individual principles, you have something to stand on. I will not do this because this is what I believe in. Behavior is directed by you, by your self-proclaimed rule. I'm going to follow the law by all means. You are going to place high value of justice, dignity, and equality. So what is the meaning of this? Whenever I see the red light, what does it say to me? When I was young, or when I was trying to improve or develop my morality, I was told that you do not need to cross the red light. You do not need to move when there is a red light. It becomes a part of us. When you grow old, it becomes a part of your principle, like what Mariam said. She likes to follow the rule. This is actually embedded in us. So when you reach stage six, you tend to follow things for the goodness of other people. I will do this because this is what the law says. Now I'll give you another example or question that otherwise would be difficult to decide. When you're traveling along the road, you encounter an accident site. You see, you see people on the ground, one or two, that requires CPR, emergency CPR. You know the rules in United Arab Emirates, no? You cannot just do CPR without being deputized by the government, by the ministry. If you do not belong to the Ministry of Health, emergency, if you are not called, you are not supposed to touch anybody, including in the accident. Take note of that. Now, what will you do if when you inspect the place, you see that somebody needs CPR immediately, or else after 5 seconds or 10 seconds, that person will die. You know CPR because you are trained in CPR because you are a student nurse. What are you going to do? If you're going to do that at the back of your mind, you may actually get arrested or you may go to jail. What are you going to do?
Doctor, like if can you repeat the question again?
All right. You see along the road a sprawling accident, and there are people on the ground. They need CPR, okay? But you are not a licensed CPR. You are not from the government. You know, in the United Arab Emirates, if you are not licensed CPR provider, or if you are not an emergency provider, if you are not a part of the ambulance, you cannot do that, or else you will get arrested. Now, the question is, the person is dying in 10 seconds, 20 seconds maybe, or within that time frame, that person will die without receiving CPR. And you are there, you know CPR, you are trained CPR giver. What are you going to do?
Okay, I got it. So if it depends on the person. Like if I'm sure or I'm well trained, I will go and do the CPR, because as a nursing student or as a healthcare professional, like even if I'm a student but I'm trained, I will do the CPR, not because like violating the rules or such things, no, but because like as a healthcare professional, you always have to prioritize your patients. So like you can't do anything if I'm not well trained, or I know, because the CPR sometimes it can cause complications which could lead to death. So if I'm well trained and I know that I can do it, then I will do it, and at the same time I will call emergency ambulance. Or if I'm not confident enough to do the CPR, then like I'll call the emergency, and I will not touch the patient, because like he could die from my mistake in doing the CPR.
All right, very good. Any other answer?
You know, doctor, for me, I'm not going to do the CPR. Because for me,
Yes.
yeah, and even if I am confident enough or not confident enough, I'm not going to do the CPR, even if I'm well trained or not. Why? Because number one, yani, from my excitement, because I want to hopefully, after God, save the patient, I might break the patient's ribs. This is number one. And number two, one of my teachers once said, yani, even if you see the patient or someone is like almost dying, don't even try to touch them, especially here, you know? So no, I won't actually. I prefer just doing the CPR and these things in the hospital. And the biggest thing I can do is whether first aid, and it's going to be super simple, or call the emergency and wait with the patient. But other than that, no, I don't think I would.
I know. This is a very difficult situation, especially in United Arab Emirates. That's the reason why I asked you that question, because we would like to look into the morality of individual principles and orientations. You, Aya, you and Aya are on the opposite side. Now, it's okay. Your decisions are all correct in a way, because you stood by your individual principle. I'm not going to do it because this is it. I'm going to do it because I'm going to save the life of that person, no matter what the consequences will be. So this is the thing. This is the thing that I would like to emphasize. You do things because you stand by it. You get the point. But in reality, in United Arab Emirates, Rama is right. Okay, you're not supposed to touch the patient. Yeah, because but you see, if I'll see a patient, if I am the person there and I'll see that I can do something, As long as I could save the life of the patient, then I will do it. For me, no? No matter what, even though I'll get arrested, I'll go to jail for saving the life of the person, I will do it. For me. But if you follow the rule, then you must not do it. You just actually call the ambulance and the ambulance will take care of the rest. That's the only thing that you could actually do. You see, applying that to my family, if I see my family around with emergencies like that, no matter what, I have to do that also. I will not let for the ambulance to do the CPR. That's exactly the point, no? So this is a higher moral development where you stand, where you are going to stand on the higher ground of moral development. You see, you are doing it because you like to do it because according to your principles, you need to do it. You are supposed to do it. You get my point. Now you're doing that because you value justice, integrity, dignity, and equality. You get it? That's how we develop who we are and what we are. And this is very important. This is what the people will see from us. Your moral integrity, your moral value. Yeah? And so on. There are so many things that you could actually experience in life where you are going to challenge your morality. You see? There are so many things that we can actually experience around us. We will decide on what we are going to do. When we decide two things or three things or different things, we're always looking into the different decision criteria that we have to do in order to come out with the proper actions that we need to do, especially when it's involving the life of others, involving the dignity of others, involving the equality coming from others. So this is exactly my main point here. Okay? So when you can do whatever you are supposed to do and decide on what you can do, then I'm telling you that you have developed the highest morality and you can go on with your life like that. Okay? So we end up our chapter 2 here. I'm very happy, no? Did you learn something in chapter 2, class?
Yes, a lot.
Right. So very good. Now, I'm very happy about it. Now always take note of this. Development takes place through time. You wait for your maturity. You cannot be matured overnight. You have to follow the process of growing. There are so many facets that we know. We're not looking in only into the development of our physical part. We need to look into the development of all the sides that we have: emotional, psychological, moral, and so on and so forth. All right? Now, here are the key points that will help you understand the chapter further. So, at the beginning of the class, we started understanding growth, development. No? What is growth? It will refer to the quantitative changes, the quantity of the change, the thing that we see, such as the increase in body size, no structures, while development refers to what is actually happening in us, the qualitative change. Development is a process of progressive, orderly, and related changes, no, with definite and well-defined relation between given period. That's the reason why we have to look in different period. We have to look in different stages of human development, right? Following the development that happens in our lives, in an individual's life, all right? Now, the developmental periods can be distinguished as prenatal. So there's no more need for me to discuss it. I really would like you to look into that, no? Right. So as we grow, we have to recognize the fact that we are not going to be living alone. We are going to live with others. So that's the reason why so many psychologists actually theorize that the process of development will be in association with others also. Like in the case of John T. J. and Eric Erikson. While according to Sigmund Freud, the development of the person is actually related to him and him alone, to the direction of his comfort. Like that's the reason why its emphasis in the development is on psychosexuality. So if you're going to look into the stages of development according to Eric or to Sigmund Freud, the emphasis is on sexuality. So anyway, I will tell you this. No, we are open to adapt as much as we can, to believe as much as we can on the different theories of development, as long as we understand people around us. We may adapt Sigmund Freud, we may adapt Jan Piaget, we may adapt Kohlberg, of course Kohlberg, it's a part, no? We may adapt Eric Erickson, but it's up to us to decide what to follow, okay? At least we understand that now we are equipped and we are ready to take care of our patients and the people around us. And we are ready to understand people and ourselves also. That is the most fundamental thing that we need to take note of in understanding human development. Understanding is a difficult process. Development is a difficult process also. It requires time, a timeline, as we say. Okay? If you have any question, say it now, or we call it a day. If you do not have any question or do not have any reaction, right? We're going to embark in a new chapter. So we're going to look into the new topic next meeting. I will send you the material, okay? For your attendance, will you please type present? And we're good to go. Yeah? Thank you so much and have a good day.